Hi, my name is Billy Jackson, and I teach mathematics at North Shore Community College. This lesson is going to help you learn how to solve application problems that involve whole numbers. So in order to solve application problems, there are a few steps that I strongly recommend that you use. The first step is you need to understand the problem. This involves reading the problem carefully, and also drawing a picture can help sometimes if you're having difficulty understanding the problem from the words itself. After you feel like you understand the problem, second, you want to devise and implement a strategy to solve the problem. Once you do this, this should be like figuring out what kind of operations you're going to need to use in order to calculate and solve the problem. And then once you find that, you want to make sure you state the answer with the proper unit of measurement. And then third is a good idea to always check your answer. You can try to estimate your answer to see if it comes out to be reasonable, or plug your answer back in to see if it gives you one of the numbers in the problem. All right, let's start with an example. In this example, Laura can type 35 words per minute. She has to type an English theme paper that has 5,180 words. How many minutes will it take her to type this paper? All right, so first we want to make sure we understand the problem. Laura types 35 words per minute. She has to type an English paper that has 5,180 total words. So how many minutes will it take her to type the paper? Well, generally speaking, words per minute if she knows how many words per minute she types, and then she multiplies that by how many total minutes she types for, oops, that should be in minutes, then that will give her total number of words. So now I feel like I have an idea, I have an understanding of the problem. So now I can figure out what kind of operation I'm going to use to solve this. Well, Laura types 35 words per minute, multiplied by how many minutes, which we don't know. And we know that this total is going to be 5,180 words. All right, so this is a general sketch of what we're looking at here. We need to find out 35 times what equals 5,180. Well, if you want to find 35 times what equals 5,180, the best way to do that is to divide the two numbers. 5,180 divided by 35. So let's go ahead and do this division. 35 goes into 51 one time. Subtract and we get 16. Bring down the 8. 35 will go into 168. Not exactly sure how many times. Maybe 4 times? We can fix this if it's not correct. 4 times 35 is going to end up being 140. Subtract 168 minus 40 and we get 28. Getting really close to the bottom of my page here. Bring down the 0. And 35 is going to go into 280 evenly. It's going to go in 8 times. And 8 times 35 will be 280. So that will end up being the answer. So we can take this answer and say that it is 148 minutes. And then we can check our work to see if this seems reasonable. If Laura types 35 words per minute, and she is typing for 148 minutes, how many total words will she type? Well, we would just multiply. 35 words per minute times 148. And if you do this calculation out, you will get 5,180. You can do that calculation out on your own. I ran out of space on my paper, so I didn't do out the multiplication. All right, let's take a look at a second problem. Here we have an auditorium at North Shore Community College. It has 207 total seats, and they are organized into 9 rows. How many seats are there in each row? So let's draw a picture to help us out here. Let's draw, this will be our auditorium, and we're going to have 9 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I ran out of space here. So we have 7, 8, and 9 rows of seats in this auditorium. And we know in total there are 207 total seats in here. So we need to figure out how many seats are there in each row. So we have 207 seats, and they are split up into 9 rows. That word split up kind of helps me understand this problem. What's another word, a more mathematical word, that represents split up? If you're thinking divide, that's the same word I'm thinking of. So what we're trying to do is do 207. We are dividing those 207 seats into 9 rows. So to find out how many seats are in each row, we divide 207 by 9. And then that should give us the answer. So let's go through and divide this. 9 goes into 207 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Bring down the 7. And 9 goes into 27 3 times evenly. Awesome. So that would mean we have 23 seats in each row. So does that make sense? Well, in order to figure that out, we know we have 9 rows, and we have 23 seats in each row. So let's see how many total seats that will give us. 3 times 9 is 27. And then we move over to the tens place. And 2 times 9 is 18. And if we add these two numbers together, 27, 180, we do in fact get 207, which is the total number of seats, which is exactly what we want. Awesome. Let's do one more example together. In this example, Lorenzo began a car trip, and his gas tank was full, and his odometer read 76,538 miles. When he eventually stopped at a gas station, he put 10 gallons of gas in his tank, to fill it back up, of course, and his odometer read 76,668 miles now. So how many miles per gallon does his car get? This word per right here is a nice word right there. The word per generally means divide in math. Okay? So if you ever want to find out your miles per gallon, you take the number of miles you drove and you divide it by how many gallons you used. So let's find those two things out. How many miles did Lorenzo drive? Well, at the end of the trip, Lorenzo's odometer read 76,668 miles. When he began the trip, it read 76,538. So to find out how many miles Lorenzo drove, we would subtract these two numbers. And when we do that, we get 0, 3, 1, and then zeros. So that means Lorenzo must have drove 130 miles. And we know that Lorenzo used 10 gallons of gas over this course. So in order to find the miles per gallon, we're going to do the number of miles divided by the number of gallons, which was 10. And if you divide 130 by 10, you get 13. So 13 miles per gallon. Awesome. Does that seem reasonable? Well, he drove 130 miles, and if he gets 13 miles per gallon, 13 miles for each gallon, and he used 10 gallons, then you would multiply 13 times 10, and that would give you 130, which is the number of miles he drove. So to me, that seems like a very reasonable answer that I'm happy with. All right, now you try an example. Pause the video and try to solve this problem. And then when you press play again, you'll see me work it out, and we'll see if we got the same answers. All right, let's go for it. So Dawn earns $8 an hour at her job babysitting. She wants to save up $184 to purchase a new bag. How many hours will she have to babysit to earn that $184? So, Dawn makes $8 per hour, and if we multiply this by her number of hours, then that will tell us the total amount of money she earns. So that's kind of sketching out and devising a strategy for how to solve this problem. So, what do we know? We know that $8 an hour. We do not know the number of hours. That's what we're trying to figure out. And we do know the total number of money she needs. She needs $184. So if we're trying to find 184 times what equals 184, I'm sorry, I may have said that wrong. If we need to find out 8 times what equals 184, the best way to find that number is we can divide 184 divided by 8. So let's see if I can come up with some room here to do this problem. Okay, here we go. So 8 goes into 18 2 times. And then we subtract and we're left with 2. Bring down the 4. And 8 goes into 24 3 times. Minus 24. And so that will go in evenly. So that would tell us Dawn needs to babysit for 23 hours in order to save up that much money. Does this make sense? Well, let's figure it out. If she did work 23 hours at $8 per hour, how much money would she have at the end? Well, 23 hours times $8 per hour would give us 8 times 3 is 24, and 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18. So indeed, we would get 184. Great, so it works out. Well, I hope this lesson was helpful for you, and keep practicing.